I'll text you, Jen.
Okay. You ready to
Ready.
call the meeting of the Fulton County Board to order here? Roll call.
Barkley.
Present.
Beck.
Present.
Barry.
Present.
Heller.
Present.
Kessel.
Here.
Coomer.
Here.
McCollum. Murphy.
Here.
Platt.
Present.
Sloan.
Here.
Southwood.
Present.
Spangler.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Widger.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Quorum present.
All right, we all stand and say the pledge for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One thing before member prays, Mary Duchesne, former board member, her husband passed away Friday, so I asked member Pratt to be sure and remember her in his prayer here.
Okay, let's pray. Dear Lord, we would ask that you would lift up Mary Duchesne at this time with the passing of her husband, Randy. Please be with her, comfort her and her family, show her your love. We'd also ask that you would be with us and give us wisdom and guidance in all our decisions this evening, that we may make the best decisions for the citizens of Fulton County. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Sure.
All right, we have the minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Barry, seconded by Thompson. Roll call.
Murphy.
Yes.
Platt.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood.
Yes.
Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Widger.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
And Coomer.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, do we have any changes to the agenda? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Beck, second by Murphy. Roll call.
Who's that? Beck and Murphy?
Yep.
All right. Platt.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood.
Yes.
Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Widger.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
And Coomer.
Yes.
And Murphy. Murphy.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Okay, do we have any announcements, communications, correspondence? Okay, proclamation. Fulton County Disaster Proclamation. You need to read that, Patrick.
Unless you tell me to, Jared.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the disaster proclamation?
I make a motion.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by Barry. Roll call.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood.
Yes.
Spangler.
Yes.
EJ, I'm sorry.
Thompson.
Yes.
Widger.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes. Yes.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
Yes.
Is McCollum here?
Colin.
McCollum.
Yes.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
And Platt.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I don't know where to put him so you can hear him. He's on my
I can hear him now. I just wasn't sure if you got him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Public remarks. First one we have Joe Schaub from Bryant. Mr. Schaub, you have 5 minutes.
I got in the mail a tax notice.
You want to come closer? 'Cause we have somebody in the-
Come on up to the center here.
I got in the mail a P-tax notice. Probably most other people got one too. My concern is why all of a sudden is my property now $9,000 more than it was a year ago? No, the board can't answer that, but at these times where people are desperately trying to make ends meet, to have the county come by and say your property is now worth $9,000 more when the economy is going south makes no sense. So, and I know that every taxing body in the county has the right to increase their portion of their percentage 5% every year without having to have a truth in taxation fee. The minute you go over 5%, you have to have a truth in taxation fee, unless that's been changed. And I don't know if that's ever been changed. In 2012, that's what I was told. So if that's the case, this now extra $3,000 of assessed value on the house, figure tax is going to be more taxes. So I'm part of a group that's on Facebook that a lot of people are outraged at this. I seem to be the only one that's actually come here to voice our concerns to the board, but this is ludicrous that you people are expecting hardworking people that can barely afford to pay now, you want them to pay more. So I'm just voicing concern. This is ludicrous that you guys are gonna ask us to pay more taxes when we are already in a very bad economy. And anybody that doesn't think this is a bad economy, you really need to open your eyes up, because it's gone worse and worse and worse with gas and utilities, taxes, food, insurance, everything. So I am here just voicing my outright concern. I will talk to the assessor as soon as I get time off work to find out what this is going to do to my taxes and how I can change it. But I know the boards, taxing bodies can change their percentage of rates that they charge people by 5%, not 5% overall, but 5% of their value. So that's my concern. And I'm trying to keep my comments as censored as possible, but it's ridiculous. Because I've not done anything to my house in the 18 years I've lived in it, except had a porch replaced. I can't afford to put up a new garage. I can't barely afford to put new roof on it. I can't afford to do anything to it. Now I'm going to be taxed more for it. It's not right, folks. That is not right. Thank you.
I encourage you to make some time to talk to the assessor, and then you can always appeal your taxes on the board of review.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, we have one other one, Cole McDaniel, Food River Partnership for Economic Development.
Appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. I'll be short and sweet this evening. I just want to introduce myself to those of you that I haven't had a chance to meet yet and that are new. Welcome aboard. And happy to be working with the new elected officials and the elected officials that are coming back on the board. Again, I'm Cole McDaniel. I'm the Executive Director of the Spoon River Partnership for Economic Development. We're based out of Canton, cover community and economic development throughout the county. The goal, as we're going into 2023 here, is to expand upon that reach and be more of an impact countywide. So as we're looking to do that, I look forward to getting to know each of you more, talk to you about some of the projects that are going on. Good news is for the board members that are new, our annual report will be released in early January, so I'll bring that to the January board meeting. We'll go through that, talk about the projects that were completed this past year, what's in progress, what's kind of on the horizon, and where we're at with some of the more major developments throughout the county. So I can assure you there's a lot of good stuff going on, a lot of trajectory changing projects that are being discussed in the county right now, and still moving forward. So excited to get to know each of you more and talk more about those as this relationship with the partnership and the county continues to grow. Like I said, look forward to working with those of you that I haven't had a chance to meet yet, and those that I do know. It's been a pleasure the last 2.5 years. Just a little bit of background. I'm from Havana, right across the river, very familiar with Fulton County. I've been with the partnership since April of 2020. Prior to that, so started right at the beginning of the pandemic. So we all got to know each other over Zoom for about 2 years, and then got back in person. And then prior to that, for 3 years as a city treasurer and director of economic development for the city of Havana. Did some neat and exciting things over there, and I fell in love with the world of economic development, local government, policy, the things we can do as a unit to move our county, our communities forward, and get things on the right track or enhance the things that we're already doing well. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I just wanted to give you my introduction this evening.
Good.
Yes, sir.
At one point, we talked before about the Buckhart Solar Farm. I know they had a meeting the other day there in Kansas, had some local people there. I think we need to try to have them come and speak. I guess the bottom line that I look at for our county is what we can generate in taxes from that.
Yeah.
That was something I was hoping somebody would ask about at the meeting.
I'd be happy to share that with you. As it's proposed, 8,000 acres, 820 megawatts, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, if you can. But over that 30 years, the value of those payments is $120 million. Now, in the beginning, the first few years, those payments are higher because depreciation gets valued in. But on average, it's worth, as completed at 820 megawatts, 8,000 acres, it would be assessed at 60.
But my understanding, they're out of that 8,000 acres, they're not going to clear any timber or anything. They're looking at this came from them, level farm ground to put solar panels on.
A lot of it's strip mine ground. So yes, I'm happy to have them come through. They are going through their state permitting process right now. So they have to have their things all put together by the end of January. At that point, when they apply for those permits, that's when we'll be coming back to the county level and talking about the permitting process here.
So we may actually have some answers from them early spring then.
Yeah, that is my hope.
They made when they talked a little bit, because I know they've already leased from local farmers around there.
Yeah.
But I guess my concern was they're doing that, but they don't have the permits for Buckhart area yet. So.
Right, so what they've done is they've pre-leased the ground, they've got it under contract, signed NDAs with these landowners. There's a large portion of this project that has to do with MSD ground, old strip mine ground, down towards the levee district. And that's a lot of the conversation right now, is there's about 4,000 acres in that levee district that is non-farm ground that they're trying to utilize. So as they're going forward, their permits are due. Because of the size of the project, their permits for plugging into the grid and the energy grid operators, all that is due by the end of January. So they're pulling all their things together now, and I hope to have a lot more answers after that point.
But they haven't made the lease agreement with Springfield Coal then, is that correct? That's what he led us to.
They have on some of the ground, but not the big portion of 4,000 acres. The reason being is it's in somebody else can correct me if I'm wrong. It's in the floodplain or the floodway. Their engineers on staff believe that where that 100-year floodplain is, where it says, hey, it almost runs all the way back up to Route 24. So they determined, hey, why this isn't a floodplain. They need it rezoned by IDNR, FEMA, in order for that permitting to take place through the county instead of through that federal organization. So there's essentially right now that 4,000 acres that they're looking at, that's the other half of the project. They need 20-foot solar panels because of the way the floodplain reads right now. Go back to when that study was, and they spent, they got a lot of engineers and guys on staff, a lot smarter than I am, but talking about floodplain, and IDNR was there, FEMA was there, Pat was there, I think there were some others there too. And that's where they're at in the conversation. But as far as what they have under contract with MSD for Springfield Coal, I'm not sure at this point, but that will be a big part of the project. I am under the impression that even if with the land they have under contract right now, which is over half of what they need, they would still build on that property that they currently have. So.
Just to answer the question on the impact to the tax base, with 820 megawatts of solar, it's going to be 64 million. Will be added to the tax base. That's EAD.
So what can we expect our first year with them on the operation?
I can't answer that because it spans such a large portion of the county that the tax rates in each and the taxing bodies are different in each section of that. I just now tonight for the first time saw kind of an actual idea of where these are going to be situated for sure. And it encompasses different fire districts, different school districts, different townships, towns. That's $64 million of EAD is like directionally changing. And then we
Two Duck Creeks.
I mean, it's going to replace and some. And this isn't even the only thing Cole has going for us and we have going for us in the rest of this county that's coming in.
Right, Jules?
Yes, and it's statutorily protected too, so it's codified into law how we appraise it. It's $218,000 per megawatt nameplate capacity. They can't get out of it. They can't file a PTAB complaint on it.
Okay, that's the next question.
It's in the statutes, how we are to assess it.
And the day that it's decommissioned and how they decommission it is built into the legislation. I get to say this very often. This is one thing that the state of Illinois put together very, very, very well, at least from our standpoint as an county. Developers know, landowners know, but when they decommission that, the day it's decommissioned, it goes back to farm value, so that the landowner that has this lease isn't stuck with an assessed value of,
Which you're aware of, it's state law is 2 years. You need 2 years worth of farmland income to prove operation as a farmland. That's eradicated in this plan. They go right back to where they were to start with.
So it goes back to taxed as farmland.
And right now, the way it's written, they have to commission a plot survey and it has to be delivered to the county and to myself. The land that the farmer actually owns is exempted from their own tax bill. They pay nothing on it. They only pay on the land surrounding it. So all of the land that's underneath the solar farm, that bill is, by law, it has to be sent directly to the solar farm. The landowner has nothing to do with it. Except collecting the lease payment.
keep making that a priority. They have some friends of the project meeting, and that's landowners. So where they're at right now is they're meeting with landowners that are signed up with them, talking about the project, what it means for them, answering questions. Still meeting with potential landowners, and then obviously working through this floodplain, floodway stuff with the federal agencies. So continuing to support that. And I think for the new board members who wouldn't know yet, but we actually do lease some office space to their, call it their public relations group, but it's Good Steward Consulting. They go to a lot of the landowner meetings. They're out of Minnesota. They're meeting with a lot of farmers. They're out of a county that's about our size. So at least they're having some success, at least talking to landowners, explaining the project, getting information out there on that end. And then I think that'll carry over very well into next year about the publicly facing piece of the project too. So for those of you that haven't seen it, you can go to buckhartsolar.com too. And they have a lot of information about the project on there as well. Any other questions I can answer? Thank you guys for having me this evening. I appreciate it. Thanks for squeezing me on, John.
You bet.
And I do have some business cards I will make Mr. Beck responsible for. And if any of you guys would like one of those, feel free to shoot me an email. I'd love to get together with especially new board members for an hour, talk about what's going on and kind of catch up. Even when I come report, it's a short time frame to try and squeeze everything going on into. So appreciate it. Thank you.
A solar project will be life-changing for our county. It's very exciting, these things that are coming in here. And Cole does an outstanding job. We are extremely lucky to have him in this position. Thank you. All right, moving on. Consent agenda. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Moved by Murphy. So second by Heller. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Southwood,
Yes.
Spangler,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Widger,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller,
Yes.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Oh, BJ, you still on there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, buddy. My fault.
Okay.
You a yes on that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, sorry. Murphy,
Yes.
Platt,
Yes.
and Sloan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Action agenda. Madam Treasurer, do you have a report for us?
I do. I have a lot for you, so bear with me and I will talk as fast as possible. First is the November financials that went out. the first topic of discussion is property tax cycle. We are through our final distribution. The P-Tax 255 report was filed with Department of Revenue last month. And on your summary sheet, ooh, that's almost a bad mix up. The total amount collected was $52,028,059.45. The total amount distributed was $52,028,059.45. In addition to that, there was interest in the collector bank accounts that totaled $3,847.69. By statute, any interest earned in any collector savings or checking account has to be distributed out to all the taxing districts. So again, this year it was just a little over 38,000. There's a lot in this distribution sheet in terms of adjustments, abatements, different things. I don't want to take the time tonight to discuss, but any of the new board members, if you have any questions on the finite detail on this, please give me a call. I'm more than happy to walk you through it. Moving right along, there is always the report that Patrick and I certify of the following month, what amount went out in AP clearing and the payroll clearing account. Usually highlight county gen. This year we had ended with a surplus of 3.7 million and change. Super excited, but we're not going to get very, very excited because we do not know what will continue. PPRT is a big factor in that, but it is not something that I would encourage any of us to count on having those kind of funds. I also want to remind you, in this year's budget, we are taking $1 million out of county general and putting it into the capital improvement fund. Once the, I believe, chairman, it's the property committee, is going to go over and kind of strategize out what those improvements all look like and what we need the funds for. Once we have a better direction of when you're going to be sending the money, then I will make that transfer over. So again, there's money sitting in there, but some of that we're going to start making some infrastructure investment in the county that we have not had the funds to do in a very long time. Any questions so far? Okay, Compa Cash is another one pager that is in here that highlights out for you in terms of assets that the county has. We ended the fiscal year with $43,123,349.41. Of that, there are also including the other bank accounts that are not under my custodian care, that the other elected officials do have separate accounts, but it flows through the financials, its ins and outs. If there's any other questions or concerns about that, please get with me at a later date, and I'm more than happy to discuss. Okay, one more thing about the financials is I felt it was important because I always highlight County Gen. For years, County Gen was a painful fund because we were losing money. We're in a lot better situation, but we need to make sure that we aren't just looking at County Gen. You as the governing body are in that position of authority to oversee a lot of the business doings of the county. Not necessarily the day-to-day, that's on the elected officials and department head, but you for governing body should have your pulse on all of the funds. There's 100 of them, not just County Gen. So I spoke with the finance committee. Every year I provide an overview, and this is this fund status report. So it's telling you by fund what came as the beginning balance. So this would have been December 1 of 2021 for the beginning of our fiscal year. Receipts, revenue, disbursement, expenses. Then you're going to also see a column that says transfers. That transfer is, let's say there needed to be an AP correction. Somebody accidentally coded office supplies and expense and it needed to be postage. So for an accounting purpose, I don't change the expenditure because we need that transparency in that record. I do a transfer correction within the accounting software. There may be a payroll correction. Maybe I made a mistake on the payroll side and paid something out of the wrong account number. So that's what that transfer is. is that's me going in, not amending the budget, but transferring and making corrections either on the AP or the payroll side. So when you go through, and then finally, that last column is the ending balance. So those of you that serve on a lot of different committees, you're probably really gonna want your pulse to be on the funds that you oversee. But in the spirit of wanting to be super thorough and have 4 pages to look at instead of 100, you pick. I'm gonna look at both, and I'm gonna invite you to look at least one. So this report here is all of the budgetary transactions of this report. This is showing you a snapshot of the entire fiscal year, but the good news is the Finance Committee fell in love with it, and you're gonna start to receive it on a monthly snapshot. Does anyone have any questions? I know I'm talking fast, but I have a lot to throw at you tonight. Any questions on anything that I just discussed? No? Okay. Next, we're moving on. So we had when was that? 2.5 years ago, Patrick, we had the Cuba bond levy debacle, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Okay. Real brief overview. Unfortunately, the prior county clerk, when she was entering in bond information for the Cuba School District levy, there was a mix-up. Accidents happen, things happen. We don't need to go backwards, we need to go forward. But what ended up happening is the Cuba School District did not receive enough bond money and distributions because it was incorrect at the levy rate level. They needed money, the school district, to pay their bond payment. So the county very graciously chose to give an interest-free loan, for the lack of a better term, to the Cuba School District in the amount of $290,833. We paid that out of Fund 16, which is liability fund. It was all done, there was an agreement, everything was handled. The reason I am involved is by statute, the county collector has to fix it. I think it's the easiest way for me to say it. So had to provide a notification via certified letter. This is all by statute. We had to do this. Had all of that done. It was after the date for us to be able to put it on last year's taxes. So it happened this year. So now 2.5 years ago, we had the unfortunate debacle. Last year, it was notifying in a holding pattern. That was fun. This year, it got added to the tax bill, which was even more fun. It was collected, it was distributed, and then I sent a letter to the Cuba School District. The superintendent there has been very wonderful to work with, and I requested the funds that were distributed to them based on the bond, and they sent a check. Based on the agreement and the way it was written, any shortfalls they were not responsible for. So again, the amount that the county provided 2 years ago, $290,833. The amount of a check that they sent to us was for $289,193.87. That remaining amount of $1,639.13, they are not obligated to pay. Any questions? So the good news is, what happened 2 years ago has been remedied. The funds have been received. The school district was able to move forward. We have received our funds. We are able to move forward. Any questions? Yes.
I hate to always ask the questions, but so is that going to be taken back off of those citizens of the Cuba School District tax? Are they going to continue to pay to make up that additional amount?
This was just a 1 year, where this year it was added onto their levy.
So next year it'll be lower levy on that tax, and that won't be there, correct?
It's on, well, they levy for multiple funds. In terms of the bond that they levy for, they will not have this additional on there. Now, I don't know if the school district has gone out and seeked more bonds. That's Patrick's domain in terms of what they turn into the clerk with levy. But in regards to this amount of what was added, that was a one-time.
So I guess my question is, straight to the point is, will they be continued to tax that on their tax bill?
I can answer
Tax
this,
bill?
Dave.
Since it's been paid and it's rectified, is their tax bill gonna be, is that gonna be eliminated from their tax bill? Because that's what I've been
I can
asked
answer
the whole
this.
time.
We can't answer that because Patrick doesn't have the levy request yet.
Patrick.
Yeah, this money should have been levied 2 years ago.
Correct.
So it was not levied. So when a taxing body sells bonds, they have to pay them by law. So the taxpayers of Cuba School District were on the hook for this money either way.
Correct.
So they just basically paid a year later because the previous clerk didn't levy that previous year. They didn't have to pay. The previous clerk levied 35,000, should have levied 290,000. So all that happened there is Fulton County made up the difference for 1 year because that money wasn't collected from the taxpayers of Cuba. The next year it was collected by the taxpayers of Cuba. We're all square. Okay?
But they're still collecting that paying on that bond, right? So you levy that 200 and some thousand.
That has nothing to do with this situation.
Yeah, it's
That was one bond payment, 1 year's worth of bond payment.
But to answer your question, unfortunately, we can't say what they're gonna levy with bonds. We don't know if they went and got more bonds. What we know is the bonds
Yeah,
that
that
were
was 1 year
supposed to be
question.
put on there, it
But
was
there's
their
still
final
paying on
year.
that.
And when she entered the data, she, I believe, entered what the new bond was and didn't add the additional bonds that it was their last year. That's what that problem was, but I can't tell you what it will do in terms of a financial burden for the taxpayers in that district for next year. I don't know if they went and have more bonds or not, but I can tell you, this debacle is done.
Fixed.
It's fixed money. $1,639.13 was not collected, and that is again what is put in as a levy request. What Patrick provides an extension to me in terms of what each taxing district is going to get within their funds is never to the penny, because there are a lot of different factors, adjustments, different things that happen throughout the year that has an impact on whatever that final distribution number. An extension number for a fund within a taxing district and what is actually realized in distribution is always different. In this case, the difference was a little over 1,600. So, but we're done with it. Finally. Yay. Okay. Last but not least, county audit. Everyone loves to be audited. Everybody loves to have auditors sitting around the room talking about internal controls. If you feel to join the party, let me know. The audit starts January 9th. It's through the 13th. We will have 4 to 5 auditors come and spend all day long with us for a week. And anything that they need to do, wrap up or clean up, they typically only send one auditor that following week. So again, started working with department heads. Everybody's cooperative. Audits are very important. There's no reason to be alarmed. If we're doing something wrong, it's better to know. If there's a better way to do something, it's better to know. If somebody's doing something naughty, we really want to know. So that audit is coming into play. Again, any questions, concerns? Room 104, you have my phone number, you have my cell number. I am easily tracked down. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on. Community development, do you have anything, Laura?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Health, anything, Brian?
Had our meeting, and I did get an email that Freiburg has 2 cases of COVID. Before that, there was nothing. Sometimes it's
asked how many residents. They've got 40 residents there, and the capacity 49. Three of those residents are private pay. We asked about the mix of Medicare, the Medicaid, and all the insurances. We did decide to raise the room rates because to bill Medicare, you can't bill Medicare more than you bill everybody else, which would only affect 3 people. They have 1 private room. We raised that to $350. All the rest are semi-private, $250. So, and there's only 3 people that actually pay for it out of their pocket, and they still have the ability to negotiate different rates for different people and payers. So just gave them the flexibility, and then we get to charge the maximum to the other payers. And that's it.
All right, thank you. County Highway, anything?
Really quick, once again, my name's Jared Heller. I'm new, so if you guys forgot my name. I've met with Keith. I've toured the place. I've met with Keith a couple times. We've had quite a few phone calls. Just 2 things to report really quick. We are doing shoulder rock work right now, getting ready for winter. And then Stark Excavating did receive the bid for a bridge in Astoria to Ipava. They'll start this spring. That's about it for right now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, public safety and campground, property courts. Carl.
Nothing really on public safety, other than we have a opening on the merit commission, the sheriff's department. Todd Fletcher currently resigns, so we have to fill that position. Campground, John wasn't here tonight. There's a couple things that we want to look into, mainly kind of study the contract that we have with MSD. We kind of go through it. I've been there 2.5 years, and I've never seen the contract. I'm not familiar with it, so I think that's something we need to address at some point. We're paying some property taxes on a house that we don't have access to. I think it was $7,000 for this house that it's cabled off, and we have to pay the property taxes to ourselves, which I guess is better paid to somebody else, but it's still kind of ridiculous. So other than that, I really don't have anything else on that. So.
John, don't write that. It's not true. It's not true.
All right, thank you. P&L, finance, insurance.
It's hearsay.
Good evening. P&L, we don't have anything on that agenda for this evening. But we do have a couple of finance items. And all I gotta do is get to the right page here. All right, we have some ARPA discussion. The Canton Union School District has made a request. It was emailed out this afternoon, and they wanted $30,000 for a multi-purpose space at the Canton High School. And there's a description that I can read to you if you like. And also a greenhouse at the high school. And they requested $30,000 in assistance from the ARPA fund. And this passed the finance committee with a majority vote. So I will call for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to get $30,000 to the Canton Union School District for out of our funding.
All right, moved by Kessel. Is there a second? Second by Beck. Discussion. Just, do you have anything? Tell some more information on it, Lisa, before we give some more information on this.
Sure.
Is the greenhouse that's there, is it just gonna be added to, or is it gonna, you're gonna get rid of that and build a new one?
Adding a greenhouse to replace the currently outdated greenhouse at the high school. The new greenhouse will be more eco-friendly and allow for more students to participate in planting, growing, and cultivating a variety of plants, fruits, and vegetables. Now, the multi-purpose room also was adding new space that allows for additional classroom space, additional cafeteria space, additional band, forest, more space for physical education, sport, and sports teams practice. And it says this is an extensive project that also includes relocation of sewer and drainage lines, and an access drive will be added to allow for vehicle access.
So it's like the 30 grand is a drop in the bucket from what they have to spend.
Well,
It's a help. It's just-
there's one little piece of information that I want to pass along. Okay, we have, I just want to make it known, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of renovations needed in the county. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm sure Mr. Williams will be putting together a list to help demonstrate that. We have $400,000, approximately $400,000 left in ARPA funds. And the last bit of information is the school district has $31 million in reserve currently. And they had a fiscal year 23 budget of surplus $2.9 million. So I wanted to make you aware of that. Yes.
Kessel?
I don't disagree with what you said, Lisa. We have, I believe, approved the other community requests we received from other school districts and for other community projects. And I think that this should be considered. We didn't dig into finances of the other places. Some of the things that were, some of the information provided to us and some of those requested, and we just took for what they said for granted, and we didn't dig into any of them. And I feel like this is yes, it's a drop in the bucket of the bigger expense, but it would help the school district out, and they put the request in, so I think it should be considered.
Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Mr. Williams?
Let's make this fair then. If we're gonna do this, because one school hears about it, then let's give every school a set amount of money. You do what you see, but I mean, so for an example, Cuba School's not smart enough to come down or whatever and beg for money, you know, or they don't feel right because they've already taxed the hell out of the citizens, just like the young man said earlier. So if we're gonna do this, let's give each one a set amount. Here you go. Let's not, hey, this school gets 70,000, this school gets 30, this school gets, you know, that's just my opinion. I guess that's just me speaking. Let's make it fair all the way around.
CBIT already got 50,000.
Right.
You got a motion and a second on the floor, and it's getting way out of order.
Any other discussion on the motion, on the main motion? Coomer?
Not on the motion. I
That
just
needs to be on the motion.
had the question about the remaining ARPA funds that were existing.
That's next.
We'll get to that next.
Okay.
Okay, roll call.
Spangler,
No.
Thompson,
No.
Widger,
No.
Williams,
No.
Barkley,
No.
Beck,
No.
Barry,
No.
Heller.
No.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
No.
McCollum,
No.
Murphy,
Yes.
Black,
No.
Sloan,
Yes.
Southwood.
No.
Motion failed.
Okay. Moving on, remaining ARPA funds.
So, the committee did vote unanimously. The next item is ARPA funds, $395,742, plus $30,000 now that we did not allocate to Canton. The committee voted unanimously to move to capital improvement projects for the county. With that, I will make a motion to move the remaining ARPA funds into capital improvement projects for the county.
Moved by Thompson, second by Heller. Discussion? Coomer?
I just have a question for Stacy on that. The remaining ARPA funds, is that minus what we've already allocated to the Spoon River Life Association?
Yes, right now, you have $425,742 that has not been allocated. Spoon River Drive received $40,000 in allocation, we just have not dispersed any funds to them yet. But that $40,000 for the drive is included in all of the allocations.
Okay. That's all I have.
So just to be clear, this would basically end the ARPA request. Or not basically, it would end, if any more requests come, we're done. So, any other questions, thoughts, comments? Roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Widger,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Barkley,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller,
Yes.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
Yes.
McCollum,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Southwood,
Yes.
and Spangler.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay.
All right, the last
Dr.
one.
Lucas.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good.
Okay. Last one's ARPA interest. We discussed whether or not the ARPA interest that we've earned, whether it should stay within the ARPA fund or be relocated to the general fund. And I will make a motion that we will leave the ARPA in the ARPA fund, not move it to the general fund where we would be more likely to spend it.
Sorry. I'll second. You're right.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by Platt. Discussion. So how can that be used?
So who's gonna come and ask for that?
Yeah, what can we do with it?
No, it's not, it's an interest allocation that, really, they recommended that that get moved into the general fund when they distributed the funds. They said, interest is available to be moved to the general fund. And we're just gonna leave it sit there and accumulate for a while. And, it is not up for allocation, it's interest, it is not part of the ARPA allocation. So we're gonna let it accumulate. And we will move it at a later date.
One thought we would have had is this 200th anniversary that's coming up. We do not have any money appropriated for that yet. Laura and I would like to use some of this money towards that in the future.
We do not yet have a formal plan or proposal, but that is
Exactly.
forthcoming.
Yes.
Might want to talk to Cole. Good more than happy to help with that.
Plan on. Okay. Any other discussion?
Spending the money.
Roll call.
Sorry. Widger,
Didn't hear you.
Widger,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Barkley,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller,
Yes.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
Yes.
McCollum,
BJ, you on still?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Murphy,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Southwood,
Yes.
Spangler,
Yes.
and Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Thank you, committee chairs. Moving on, we need to approve our committee list and committee schedules. Did everyone get a sheet like this? See the committees? And the standing committees we'd already talked about. Select committees, I'm still missing a few people. I wasn't sure as far as people's schedules or interest, who would even be able to do a couple of these. I'm needing someone for the 377 board and the 708 board. And those are both, the 708 board is the mental health board. The 377 board is the board for the care and treatment of persons with developmental disabilities. And we actually levy money to support these. And by being a member of that committee, you would be helping determine how that money is used to support these causes. If if anybody knows more about either of those than I do, speak up. Because I've been digging for information, trying to find out more about these, because I knew nothing. 708 board meets at noon on the first Tuesday of the month, and Barry is already on it. But we, as a member just of the community, and so, but we need a representative from the board. Is anyone interested in either one of those? I'm not sure. The 377 board meets when, Audra, before transit?
Yeah, quarterly, so the next meeting is next Tuesday. So it's the third, like the week after the board meeting every 3 months.
Okay.
So December, March, June, and September. What time is it? 5:15 at FCRC and PM.
Okay. Is anyone interested in either one of those?
The ARPA, I mean, the 708 meets quarterly. 708 board does.
Oh, yeah. So both of those meetings are a quarter. You're talking about 4 meetings a year. So.
What times are they?
She just said
5:45.
5:15 on the 377. 708 meets at noon.
Right.
I can do the 708.
I do 708. Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm going at 377 board.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
What is that, Tuesday?
Thursday, she said, usually the week
The
after the
Western.
board meeting. Yeah,
Tuesday.
it's next Tuesday. It's next, sorry. I thought she-
Next Tuesday.
So sorry.
Third Tuesday.
Third Tuesday.
Okay, and then we need a representative for the Western Illinois Regional Council. Cindy Arnett, former board member, already serves on that committee. But we need another representative. They meet in Macomb, I believe. Do you know when at all, Laura, they meet?
I think they meet at noon. In the past, when I was on there, we met at noon. I think so.
Anyone interested in that one? Trying to think of somebody that maybe worked in Macomb.
I see you looking at me. Let's not do it.
They used to meet at noon.
On what day?
I can't answer that question.
I'll entertain more information.
Okay, we'll check into it.
I'll have to check with my employer.
All right.
I'll entertain more information.
It looks like
Since I
they
do
meet,
work in Macomb, I think I know most of the people on it already, so.
they meet on Thursdays, it looks like. Upcoming meetings are January 26th, April 27th, July 27th at 5 PM in Macomb.
5 p.m.
January 26th, you said, what was the next one?
April 27th,
I can do those.
July 27th. Looks
All
like
right,
it's
well, we
the fourth
appreciate it.
Thursday.
Is there food at least?
Can't answer that. That is not advertised on the website.
Yeah. They used to.
Okay. See, that's everybody, right? All right, thank you, everyone. All right, I'll take a motion then to approve the standing committees and select committees. Moved by Murphy, second. Second by Southwood. Roll call.
Williams,
Yes.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller,
Yes.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
Yes.
McCollum,
Yeah.
Murphy,
Yes.
Platt,
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Southwood,
Yes.
Spangler,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Widger.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, now we need to approve, does everyone have the next sheet? Our 2023 committee meeting schedules. And so just to review here, since I thoroughly confused everyone at the last meeting. So what we're looking at here would be January 3rd, the first Tuesday of the month. At 7:30 in the morning will be highway committee meeting. And then that evening, starting at 5:30, the Community Development, Zoning and 200th Anniversary, you will meet in the board office. Health will meet across the road in the Jane Boyd Building at the same time, 5:30. Then at 6:30, Finance will meet in the board office. And Property, Public Safety, and Campground will meet in the Boyd Building. Then at 7:30, committee chairs will all meet for executive in the board office. Clear as mud. And so then the only meeting that there will no longer be a safety meeting, before board meeting here. The only meeting that will be before board meeting will be finance, and we're going to move that upstairs to 311. So, what's that? 313, I'm sorry. And so that this room will be open. And I think that's it. Right, Cindy?
Yes.
Questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the schedule? Moved by Beck. Second by Southwood. Roll call.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
Yes.
McCollum. Murphy.
Yes.
Platt.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood.
Yes.
Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Widger. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, and Cindy will email out the updated version of this tomorrow. Or you just really want to have a hard copy before you come to the meeting. Or if you just want a hard copy sitting here for you when you come to the meeting, let Cindy know what your preference is. So the only thing you need to do is if you want a hard copy, here are job and the public comments. I'd like Julie just to make a few comments. I know he's not the only person feeling that way. And I know we're gonna get a lot of questions and comments, and I guess I would just we need to have as much information as we can. Julie talked about this in the past here recently, why there is the changes and increases. I guess I'd like her just to address that to all of us, so all of us hear the same thing and can pass this on to people when we are questioned about this as well.
For those of you who haven't met me yet through finance, my name is Julie Russell. I'm the Chief County Assessment Officer, also known as the Supervisor of Assessments, or one of many other names you have probably recently seen on social media. And a very popular comment thread that was, Chris, put your hand down. A popular comment thread that was started by our public speaker this evening. Just first of all, to kind of set a couple, his market value went up approximately $9,000. His tax bill is going to go up under $300 a year. So the $9,000 a job as the assessor. I do not assess taxes. My staff does not assess value. Our entire office is 1/3% of what you could sell your property for on the whole. That being said, sometimes that value are to the taxing bodies because it gives them a larger base, which we had spoken about before with the solar farm, why 64 million and an increase to taxing bodies to draw from while maintaining a lower tax. What we do in our office does not matter what people want their tax bills to be. I need to make sure the value of your property is at 1/3 of the market. Sometimes that means it's going to go up. Sometimes that means it's going to go down. And yes, it does go down. Nobody ever notices though. Case in point, 2020, we had an equalization factor issue that was 2% down. I didn't receive a single phone call in my office complaining about it. This year, if anybody the housing market has skyrocketed in 2020, 21, and 22. These goals, I have to do something by state law. If I do not raise the values in the county on 3 1/3, the state will step in and do it themselves through an equalization factor. They need to file a complaint with the board of review. Job as the bad guy, but we're all taxpayers too. Everybody in my office, I don't get a thrill out of paying property taxes. I really like, that being said, if you have questions, please call me. Or if you live in Canton Township, please call your township assessor. John Turgeon is extremely knowledgeable and extremely kind, and he will talk. Are maintained by my office and my office alone. So we have two girls who are field assessed, the 10th largest county in the state of Illinois, if that gives you any idea. 900 square miles. Just like there are still people who are underassessed. That's why we have the board of review. So, just to set a few things straight, that is people's tax bills skyrocketing or levy for. It is just as big an impact on that tax bill, your levy amount as totally bound to value property at. So keep that in mind when we are spending money. It is not a one-sided street. So now you know that is the facts of it, no matter what Facebook says. And I'm more than happy to talk to any of you. Ask Mr. Spangler, Carl.
Now that you brought me up, how do you value rural Fayette as the same increase as Weemattuck's selling houses?
Weemattuck is in Putman Township for the most part. The north of Washakie Road is actually Joshua Township, based on the sales. So when people file sales and land records, it is a valid arm's length transaction. We send them to the state, and the state calculates what our median level of assessment. That number have to raise us to get to 33 1/3 or lower. Looking at township, this was Putman Township's quad